Thanks for joining me for this week's mini message on what Sam said. You can have what you see, so what are you looking at? On November 24th, 1993, while attending a midweek Bible study at Believers Bible Christian Church, Senior Pastor Alan McNair shared with the congregation on the value of vision in ministry. He said these nuggets, these spiritual principles will not only work for those who are full-time in ministry, but it will also work if we diligently applied it in our personal and our professional lives. He said vision is tackling the impossible, that which cannot be seen by the natural eye. It represents what's in your heart that you have not yet. He said vision is having to control current circumstances today as you shape and mold your tomorrow. As a leader, it can be hard to get people to see what you see, especially when it is based on what's on the inside of you. That is why vision casting is so important with your team or your department. You have to continue to share what you see, and sometimes we have to do it with family members as well, because since something is on the inside of us, others may not necessarily be able to appreciate what we see or what we've heard. We have to stay away from small thinking people, even if they are our family members or we work with them. Have you ever wondered why people who aren't going anywhere always want you to go with them? Have you ever had conversations, and I'll say with the wrong people that you thought were the right people, and after you finish talking with them, they have you leaving thinking something's wrong with you? What you were doing was trying to explain today what you see tomorrow, and it can be frustrating for people with limited sight. Who you have with you and around you will speak to your decision making. You can't go everywhere with everybody. Your vision has to speak to you and define what you do and who we do it with. Yes, it can be challenging, and I've missed it a time or two myself, or a time of 3, or a time of 100 or 500. But the point of the matter is this: our vision will guide us and it'll direct us. So when we think we've gotten out, go back to what you heard. And let's start from there. Jesus said it best in 1 Corinthians 6, chapter 12 from the Message version. He said, just because something is technically legal doesn't mean it's spiritually appropriate. He said, if I went around doing whatever I thought I could get away with, I'd be a slave to my whims. Our vision should guide what we choose to see as well as what we choose not to see. Everyone can't handle what is on the inside of you, and we should not expect them to. And the subtopic for today's message is go back again. After 3.5 years of a drought, the word of the Lord came to Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 18 saying, go show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. After the contest on Mount Carmel between the prophets of Baal and the God of Elijah, and after the God who answered by fire showed up and showed out, Elijah said unto Ahab, get up, eat, and drink. I know what I heard. Rain is on the way. The Message version says it this way. Elijah said to Ahab, up on your feet, eat and drink. Celebrate. Rain is on the way. I hear it coming. You know that some people now will only celebrate you after it rains. So you might be speaking to the wrong people about celebrate because they're looking for what they can see as opposed to what you can see. Elijah said, celebrate now. What God said is as good as done. They see clear skies, but you know what you heard. Isaiah 46:10 tells us, I will do exactly what I said I would do. I planned it, so it is as good as done. The Bible says Ahab did it, got up, ate, and drank. Meanwhile, Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel, bowed deeply in prayer, his face between his knees. Then he said to his young servant, on your feet now, look toward the sea. The young servant went, looked, and reported back, I don't see a thing. You ever find yourself sharing what you heard with someone who's only looking for what they can see? Keep looking, said Elijah, 7 times if necessary. And sure enough, the 7th time, the young servant came back and said, oh yes, a cloud, but it's very small, no bigger than someone's hand rising out of the sea. Elijah said, quickly, get on your way and tell Ahab to saddle up and get down from the mountain before the rain stops him. Verse 45 and 46 says, things happened fast. The sky grew black with wind-driven clouds, and then a huge cloudburst of rain. They saw what Elijah heard. Prior to the rain is when you have to depend on what you heard in the darkness to be manifested in the light. The young servant said, yes, I see a cloud, but it's very small. In other words, I know this ain't what you got me walking back and forth for. I went and told you the first time I didn't see anything. I told you the second time, the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth. But on the seventh time, and sometimes when people don't see what we see, we got to send them back again. The book of Zechariah 4:10 tells us, do not despise small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work. Remember, the servant said, I just see a small cloud like the size of a man's fist. So sometimes when things are manifested in our life, we can't look at what we see in the natural and determine whether or not what we see in here, whether or not we heard from God based on what others may see. We can't be so focused on what we see in the natural that we forget to continue to look on the inside of us, that we forget what we heard. When there was no rain, when there wasn't any money in the account, when you did not get the job or the promotion, go back to what you heard. The Bible instructs us in 2 Corinthians 4, verses 16, 17, and 18 from the Message version. So we're not giving up. How could we? Even though on the outside it often looks like things are falling apart on us, on the inside, where God is making new life, not a day goes by without his unfolding grace. These hard times are small potatoes compared to the coming good times, compared to the lavish celebrations that have been prepared for us. There's far more here than meets the eye. The things we see now are here today, but they'll be gone tomorrow. But the things we can't see will last forever. What Sam said, you can have what you see, so what you're looking at. What Sam said, work your plan, work your vision. Don't despise the day of small beginnings. Be faithful, be consistent. It may not seem like much now, but continue to speak to yourself. Continue to build your tomorrow by shaping it today. Look on the inside of you and remember what you heard. Now, there's a difference between seeing and looking. When I look, I am focusing my eyes in a particular direction. However, when I see, I am becoming aware of someone or something. So you can have what you see. So stop looking at things that are designed to get you off of what you can see. Elijah's servant said, all I see is a little cloud. The prophet said, I hear the sound of rain. Go back and look again. What do you see? I don't see anything. Go back again. I hear the sound of an abundance of rain. I said, I don't see anything. I said, go back again. I hear the sound of an abundance of rain. Stop looking for it. See it. Go back again. And the Bible tells us that it was the seventh time that he said, behold, there arises a little cloud out of the sky. Elijah said, go and tell Ahab, prepare himself. The rain is on the way. It went from the size of a fist to the heavens being black with clouds. Verse 45 said things changed quickly. When we stop looking and start seeing, we'll see the hand of God move in our lives. When you realize that you can have what you see, then you'll realize that it matters what we look at. Now, hindsight is the understanding of a situation or an event after it's already happened. Foresight is the ability to predict what will happen in the future. Let's talk about spiritual blind sight. Now, the natural definition of blind sight is the ability of a blind person to sense accurately a light source or other visual stimulus, even though they're unable to see it consciously. So you got hindsight, you got foresight, and now we got blind sight. See, I can have what I see. My spiritual blind sight can see what you can't. My spiritual blind sight will lay the foundation for my foresight. It will drive what I see in my future. What you see in you will lay a foundation. It is shining brighter than what circumstances would have you to believe. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you can't see it, then why are you looking? My blind sight is telling me that he's always come through for me. My blind sight is telling me that according to Isaiah 43, that God who made me in the first place, God who got me started says, don't be afraid. I've redeemed you. I've called you by name. You are mine. When you're in over your head, I'll be there with you. When you're in rough waters, you will not go down. When you're between a rock and a hard place, it won't be a dead end because I am God, your personal God, the Holy One of Israel. I'm your Savior. I paid a huge price for you. All of Egypt with rich Cush and Seba thrown in. That's how much you mean to me. That's how much I love you. I'll sell the whole world to get you back. I trade creation just for you. So don't be afraid, I'm with you. Stop looking and start seeing. My foresight, my ability to predict what will happen in the future is based on his faithfulness. I know what he's already done for me. I know that time and time again, he has come through. I just have to control what I look at. Now, why do we have people around us who are trying to get us to look and not see? I remember hearing a minister say the atmosphere you permit decides the product you produce. The atmosphere you permit decides the product you will produce. The people that you allow to speak in you will determine what you produce. I know that I have to look on the inside of me and let that form what I see when I open my eyes. The business is coming. The promotion is coming. The child is coming. The money is coming. Increase is coming. Know what you heard. So when the naysayers tell you it is not going to work, tell them to go back until they see what you see. Know what you heard. Stop looking and start seeing. You can have what you see. You can have what you see. Just be mindful of what you're looking at. Thank you for joining us for this week's version of What Sam Said.